you hear the word steroid, let it settle in your mind that we are talking about cholesterol, because steroids actually come from cholesterol. Okay? And steroids play different roles in the body. And the most important roles in the body are basically the roles of cholesterol. If you've been here for the longest period of time, you already understand the roles of cholesterol. And we said cholesterol plays a very important role in brain cell formation, nerve cells, formation of vitamin D, your skin, your muscles, all your cells are covered into a lipid bilayer with a lipid bilayer that is called the cell membrane. Now, I want you to take note of that cell membrane thing. Why? Because when we'll be talking about the mode of action of these painkillers, how they work, you'll get to realize that they affect the cell membrane integrity. And therefore, it's important for you to understand that that part of the cell membrane and that part of cholesterol has to be noted down. So if you have a notebook, simply write down cell membrane and write in bracket membrane phospholipids, because those phospholipids are actually cholesterol. So the cell membrane is made up of cholesterol. Your sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, they come from cholesterol. Okay, there's another hormone that is called cortisol that helps you manage and fight stress. It comes from cholesterol. We also have another hormone that is called aldosterone that helps you regulate blood pressure. That hormone comes from cholesterol. So once you understand that basic, you understand now it's very difficult for you to live without cholesterol. Therefore, you've been demonizing cholesterol for no good reason. You've actually demonized cholesterol for what sugar cost you, and that is not fair. Okay, and we've talked about these things before. However, this is a life that concerns the cell membrane and the mode of action of the painkillers. So listen to this. These are some of the functions that the cortisols or of course, steroids play a very important role in regulating stress. Okay, so when you're stressed up, there's a hormone that is called cortisol that is produced by those glands that are on top of the kidneys. They're called the adrenal glands. So they produce cortisol, and cortisol helps you to manage and handle stress. Now, as women are aging, your estrogen levels are misbehaving, you end up getting so stressed up for no good reason. Therefore, you need cholesterol and you need cortisol as you age, because it will help you minimize the levels of stress. That is very important. So therefore, cortisol is produced from cholesterol, and that is actually what we call the steroids. Okay, so when I'm talking about steroids, I'm actually talking about generally the cholesterol, because that is the major part of the steroids. So when you're producing cortisol hormone, one, it helps you fight stress. Number two, it helps you reduce inflammation. People who have autoimmune conditions, when your doctor tells you have autoimmune conditions, he's washing his hands. He doesn't want you to ask him many questions, because he'll basically tell you that autoimmune means your own immune cell targeting your body tissues or your cells or your organs. And how does that happen? Very simple. You have reduced amount of cortisol in the system, and cortisol is the hormone that actually tells the immune system not to overreact. So anybody who has an autoimmune condition, simply understand that your levels of cortisol are down. That's the reason why you will inject an external steroid. Okay, an injection like Diprofos is actually an external steroid. An injection like methylprednisolone, an injection like hydrocortisone, like dexamethasone, these are what we call the steroid injections. So what they do is they tell the immunity not to overreact. But you see, by the time you're thinking of injecting with an external steroid, it means your adrenals have already started failing and they cannot produce internal steroids. Because the body has a way of making these things balanced. The body has a way of telling the immune system, do not overreact. Do not target my own cells or tissues. So that's the function of the body. And that is actually controlled by cortisol, which is coming from the adrenal glands. So you see already, God had a perfect design for your body. But what we do every time is we mess the balance. We keep on messing the balance. And once you mess that balance, of course, the body punishes you so hard. And then by that time, you're already spending a lot of money on therapy. So you start giving attention to your health at that moment in time, because it's now draining you financially. That's the only time you start to listen to your body. So that is one. Now again, this cortisol hormone is very important, basically in reversing and preventing you from getting the autoimmune condition. So take note of that. Again, the steroids are actually used to suppress asthma. That's why you get the steroid injection like hydrocortisone or dexamethasone when you have asthma, which is an allergic reaction. Also, when you have bee stings and all this, what is going to happen here is that these steroids are the one that will suppress that inflammation. And when they are overwhelmed, that's when you need an external steroid. Okay, do you know that now? When you understand that now, you know that is function number one. So it has to regulate inflammation and stress levels in the body. That is the function of the steroids in the body. So natural steroids. So anytime somebody mentions steroids, do not be agitated thinking that this is just anabolic steroids. No, there are different types of steroids, and steroids play a very important role in our system. But the anabolic steroids are just part of this smaller portion of the steroids. So number two, steroids play an important role in metabolism. So the steroids actually activate the liver to now start breaking down protein, fat, and carbohydrates to give you energy. That's why prolonged use of prednisolone that is used in asthma and autoimmune conditions like arthritis will actually cause you diabetes, because they tell the liver it's time for you to break down the fat, the protein, and the glycogen to release glucose into the system, and that's how blood sugars go up. So they also regulate metabolism. Above all, they regulate balance of electrons and electrolytes in the body. Now listen, again on that gland that is on top of the kidneys, that is called the adrenal gland. That gland produces a hormone that is called aldosterone. That hormone is the one that instructs the kidneys that when your blood pressure is going up, please urinate more. When you urinate more, your blood pressure falls. This is the same hormone that tells the kidneys, hey, your blood pressure has fallen down below normal, so please reabsorb salt and reabsorb water so that the blood volume goes up and blood pressure is maintained. Now you can imagine how important cortisol is, or cholesterol is, in maintenance of blood pressure. Okay, because it regulates sodium excretion and absorption and reabsorption also. Number four, of course, stress response. We've talked about it in number one. But the most important one is sexual and reproductive health, because cortisol or the steroids are the ones that produce sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone in men. Now, when men abuse the steroids, they end up getting their testicles shrinking. Okay, yes, they are getting these androgens or the anabolic steroids from androgenic sources like testosterone. So they are trying to boost testosterone. But you see, it is a natural occurrence of the body to simply make sure that you have either testosterone or estrogen or progesterone. But when men start using these anabolic steroids to boost testosterone, they end up having the testosterone, which gives you muscle mass, gives you the bone density, but ends up shrinking your testicles. Vitamin D comes from the steroids. So you can imagine all this function, and vitamin D is actually part of your immune system. So there is no way you can live without steroids. There is no way you can live without cholesterol. So when you're told that cholesterol is high and you have to start worrying, please tell your doctor, no, I am not supposed to worry about cholesterol. Don't give me drugs that will actually lower my liver stop my liver from making cholesterol. Okay, please tell me what is the ratio between the cholesterol and the triglycerides, because triglycerides are the ones that are dangerous, and they come from fruits and honey. When you break down fructose, you get triglycerides. But of course, the health system wants to avoid that question, and because they want to still market sugar, so they want to avoid and protect sugar by all means, because they are part of the industry, but demonize cholesterol because, again, the business of drugs for cholesterol is part of the industry. Okay, that's why they'll end up. That's why when you take these drugs for that lower cholesterol, you start losing memory because your brain is made up of cholesterol. You start having very bad skin because the skin is made up of cholesterol and nourished by cholesterol. You start having low immunity because vitamin D, which is part of your immunity, comes from cholesterol. Okay, you start having erectile dysfunction, problems in men with erection, and now you see the same company that makes atorvastatin that actually lowers cholesterol is the same company that heads up to make the drugs that boost erection. So you can easily see they knew what they were doing when they were creating this drug to lower cholesterol, because you don't have to lower cholesterol. If cholesterol was so bad, the liver would not be making so much cholesterol every single day. Much of the cholesterol that you use that is going to be used to form these steroids is actually coming from the liver, not from the diet. Okay, so the more you eat the eggs, the lesser the liver will make cholesterol. So you actually ease up on the function of the liver. So now it has to focus on making immune cells and other things, and because you're now supplying it with already cholesterol from the eggs and from the fish and all these things. So therefore, eat the eggs, eat the red meat, make them fatty, because you need that cholesterol.